That is the initial stage. But we are working closely with ISA, in fact, with DIT, and we have been, each one of these is elaborated, and we have closely worked with ISA to propose this. And DIT, yeah, many people have heard this, and they have, some of them are incorporated. But it takes. Yeah.
Madam was here. Are they talking?
Yeah, I mean, there's a.
I would give you a little bit. You spoke of SCL, Semiconductor Complex Limited, right? So they bought a age-old technology, 10 years old equipments, and paid a very huge, sum for that, right? And I think they are still trying to get their yields up. Okay. So one problem is that 180 nanometer, most of the times, somebody doing, high high performance, processor course may not make a lot of sense, right? So that's the one. So other thing is that you said what government can do, right? Of course, so he has to tape out his chip and what they can do. Now, government has been running something called India Chip Program, and it has been running from I guess last 10 years.
6 years at least.
No, I mean it's like 10 years, right? For some funny reasons, it is only open for colleges and only for government aided colleges, right? Not aided, so government colleges, right? So NITs and IITs and whatnot, right? And but if they would have allowed private players and more of startups to partner with those kind of programs, right? Probably in part of India chip programs, we might have seen multiple products coming out of it, right? So far, to me, I haven't seen more than academic projects and publishing few papers here and there. Anything else has come out of it, right? Now, in the same money, in the same, right, few PhDs, right? So what I'm saying is the same money could have put to very good use. You still would have had PhDs, you still would have had your papers published in best of the publications, but you most importantly, you would have actually given rise to some corporations out of India. So again, I come back to it, right? That there is no dearth of money, there's no dearth of policies. It's just that I think we need to be able to positively influence it. Nobody else will do it for us.
So the this influence part is the onus is on the both on side, government side as well as in the entrepreneur side. So in the room, I'm that's what I wanted. It will more interactive. How we how we see that. Okay, whether still are we seeing as a this as a positive vibe. Okay, so I'm handing over the mic to the gentleman here.
Not required. So I've been attending these ISA meetings last 3-4 years, and I can honestly say nothing has moved, as far as semiconductors are concerned. It's still at ground level. I've been in this field for a long time, and I've been in industry now so that is one comment. So I heard a few comments, and I think one is what can, so you had some, in a slide you had some comments about academic interactions and these weak links.
Yeah.
So I'm now getting at what should we be doing? We are here in Bangalore, we have access to ISA. What should we be doing? And we also meet our peers in other colleges, what should we be telling? Okay, this is to be done, it has to take. So what should we be doing? In terms of, coursework, curriculum, I think there was something on curriculum, but also on the types of things we should be emphasizing, like I'm talking about RF products, should we teach power amplifiers, RF power amplifiers, LNA, whatever. So how should we, what are the things we can do? Some of these things like for example, mixed signal, RF, we are in a better position, because these are low cost, they require 180 nanometer nodes, they don't require 40 nanometer. So we are in a better position, but I need that feedback from industry. We should, something that we can do, okay, we contributed, we are not going to be entrepreneurs, maybe our students will, but we are not, but we need that guidance, that will be very nice. The other thing was regarding, yesterday there was a comment on IoTs, and there will be lots China, I don't know.
Cricket is not on the floor. They are looking for money. So forget it.
Okay.
Cricket is not happening.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
We have an analogy with real cricket.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing is, again, getting back to curriculum, whether we should emphasize on system level development or semiconductor, ASIC technology. You have component, DI, Intel, everybody gives you component, can build, in FPGAs, If we teach all that, so we are capable. I'm sure we have faculty who, we can teach that. Or we should be looking at, more of semiconductors. So I have some of these comments.
I think Dr. Venu, since he operates his venture out of an incubation center in the IIIT Hyderabad, and he has seen the academia and then the industry collaborating very closely. He may like to comment on this, right?
Yes. I have a lot of views, but I will try to make it brief. I was in university for 20 years before coming into industry, so I'm more an academician than an entrepreneur. And in fact, when I was in the university, I was sitting in board of studies of several engineering colleges around the University of Hyderabad in Hyderabad, and things like VLSI and embedded master's programs and so on. I'll give you one experience I had. I was a professor as a subject expert sitting in the board of studies of Vasavi Engineering College, and Professor Sacham was heading that, who was a vice chancellor, who was a faculty in ISC Bangalore here, and after retiring he joined the college. He was very enthusiastic and asking questions like you. There were a couple of industrialists, one from TI and one from, I think, another DSP company. So he was asking them, tell us what we should have in the syllabus, we'll include. Okay. And both of them said, really, it doesn't matter what you have in your syllabus. Okay. And in fact, they don't even have to be engineering students. They should be smart and learn quickly. Because you can never teach in a college or a university and keep changing the syllabus at the same pace as things are changing in industry. Okay. So it is not possible to keep pace with that. What industry expects is the bunch of students who are capable of quickly learning, and they need to only have the basic background correct. And if they don't have that, and even if you teach some of these advanced stuff to them, they are not going to be useful, because what we think advanced today is no longer advanced next year. By the time these people graduate and come out, that's not needed anymore in the industry. So we should not run after that. That's my opinion. But it should be the core subjects that should be properly planned, thought about, and should be included in the curriculum. Okay. And second thing about the link between the academic institutes and industries, it comes through faculty, in my opinion. I have seen some of the good colleges who are doing very well, more because the faculty there are willing to participate in R&D. Okay. And once they do that, there are two things that's going to happen. There's going to be a link between industry and the particular institute, and second, these people become better and better teachers when they are participating in R&D, because they are in touch with what is happening recently. So it is the faculty of the college or an institute which is the link between industry and the academia, and they should be interested in doing R&D. Even in universities, there are some people who are not interested in taking any research scholars and doing any research. But even in engineering colleges, I have seen many where the teachers, though they don't get paid anything more than what they get paid and all, they are very much interested, they are very much interested in learning, and they are very much interested in, participating in this sort of R&D projects. And those are the people who provide the right type of link. And one thing you haven't asked, but I will sort of add here, is that there is a perception in at least elite academic institutes that leaning towards industry is a sin. Okay, so that sort of an academician should be above this, which I think is partly responsible for this link being weak, and that is something that should change.
Yeah, I wanted to do a small survey before we start. We could have started this panel. In this room, how many entrepreneurs we have? Can you please raise your hand?
Who is an entrepreneur?
Okay. Okay, so quite a few hands here. Okay. And now, how many people really wants to be the entrepreneur in either the ESDM space or the semiconductor space? Okay. Okay, couple of. Okay, couple of. Very good. Excellent. So yes. So yeah. So this is quite interesting. I mean, the way there's a new wave of Stand Up India, Startup India, or Startup India, Stand Up India is there, and we are also seeing there are a lot of FDI, other things are mobilizing, and in the history after 2000 years, India's GDP is the front runner, which used to be 2000 years back, right? So those are the things. Is quite interesting numbers from overall, the economy perspective or some of the other vectors that we look forward, right? But and we have also seen there are many challenges, right from the investment fundraising problems are there. There are a lot of market related issues are there. There are certain there are very good policies in the place, but still those policies are not bent towards the in the interest of the startups. So just quickly, I will just try to introduce, we as a collective, we as a member of ISA, or we as a, in a collaborative way, what we are trying to do. We are just trying to address some of these leaks. We are doing a lot of delegations with the government people, and then internal delegations also we are doing in order to how we can work on the opportunities, how we can strengthen our offering to the local customers and the global customers. And I think it's after a long time it's happening that we are seeing a good momentum there, and perhaps with this was one of the initiatives that we put this time. We have a startup pavilion, and I mean, though maybe many things looks little on the primitive stage, but I will tell you the learnings has gone into bringing those kind of product to showcase to the the delegates over here. It's phenomenal actually, and this is actually a very good ground we have set up. And I think more and more company, when they join us and do a lot of innovation in this space, there will be cascade effect will be there. Even the government will also understands the need of having a good innovative startups in the country, and make another Flipkart or the Google out of the country also, right? So that is what is the need of the hour. And yeah, Dr. Venu also emphasized the need of how academic institutions. Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe last 1 minute. So and the industry has to work very closely to each other. Yeah. So maybe this was a wonderful discussion, very interactive discussions today we had, and though there are many questions unanswered, and I believe only when we were trying to challenge ourselves and try to address these questions, and then only there is a way forward. Otherwise, always we will see there is a stone wall which cannot be crossed, right? So thank you very much, the panel, for your precious time, and thank you very much, audience, for your support in that. Thank you very much.